This episode of the Redbeard Podcast is brought to you by DJ Tone Entertainment. If you're looking for a DJ to provide the best entertainment with cutting-edge equipment for your event, then look no further. From weddings and corporate events to birthday parties and family reunions, DJ Tone Entertainment can do it all. You can find their rates on Facebook or message them for a personalized quote. So don't wait. Book DJ Tone Entertainment today. Yo, did you see Creed, the first one? Well, there's another one coming out, if you didn't know that already, and it's called Creed 2. You know, like the second one. There's a trailer. We're going to talk about that shit. Chris Hardwick has some allegations. I almost said alligators, but whatever. And we're going to talk about those allegations and what we think based on some of the new evidence that has come to light. Word. Check it out. Redbeard Podcast begins now.
Redbeard Podcast is brought to you by these cool dudes.
And we're back. It's your boy Cooley with the Redbeard Podcast, the podcast that's been back more times than Michael Myers.
Stupid.
Sitting here at the table, we have Mr. Tony Amaral,
Yo,
the third.
Yeah, I'm the third. What's up? What the fuck?
And with a puzzled look on his face, weighing in at 185 pounds. Am I right?
Yeah, around there.
Word.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at eyeballing that shit.
What's up, Jim?
Mr. Jim Rock.
Hi, how's it going, Tony? Cooley
Waving
audience.
at the audience as usual.
That time against my will.
No, it was great, though.
Me too.
That was
Hashtag me too.
That was a
Hashtag me
that was a
too.
wave rape.
Yeah. All right, I just grabbed your hand and took advantage.
Too soon?
Well, it
Not
might not
soon
be
enough.
this episode when we're talking about.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yo,
So.
what are we talking about this episode? I talked about it before the episode started. You all know what it is. It's Creed 2, baby. That shit is coming.
Hell yeah, man.
We excited for it?
Do I sound excited?
After seeing that trailer, yeah.
I am totally excited for this shit.
That trailer looks awesome, man. So Michael B. Jordan obviously just continued to work out after the second Creed movie and is in like super good shape. I think he's bigger than he was in the last movie. Ready to kick some ass in this one. So props to him for that, man, because that's definitely not easy. But I just think this is really cool, man. Every time, it never ceases to amaze me. Like Sylvester Stallone is not what you consider like an awesome dramatic actor, you know what I mean? Even though people, will probably forget that he was nominated for an Academy Award for Creed, but didn't get it for Best Actor.
Gave it to Mark Rylance.
Yeah, for his amazing minute and a half role in Bridge of Spies. But I honestly will say every time I watch a trailer for Creed or this one, I'm looking forward to seeing Sylvester Stallone's performance, because he has a lot to do with like the writing, and what goes into Rocky's thought process, and a lot of the things he says in these movies are very powerful, and you kind of get a sense of that in the trailer. So I'm looking forward to seeing his performance. The only thing I was wondering though is in the last movie he had cancer, and it doesn't really seem like he has it now in this trailer.
He's in remission.
Yeah.
Which I
He
would
went for
beat it.
treatment.
Which I'm hoping, and I'm sure that they will cover that and touch upon that, but I'm hoping that's the case, because obviously he looks a lot better than he did in
Yo,
towards
he
the end of
knocked
Creed.
that shit out.
Seriously, KO.
First round.
Hell yeah. But
And
I mean,
I-
it looks good.
And I love
Awesome.
I love the Michael Jordan storyline. I like how he's Creed's son. Loved the last one. I think the last movie went in an excellent direction to bring in new fans and to revitalize the whole Rocky storyline, because I think Rocky Sylvester Stallone as the main focal point was played out. The last few movies weren't the greatest movies, and they were depressing.
Yeah,
they
they
were
were.
so depressing.
And you really couldn't do Rocky now with Sylvester Stallone
no,
at his age.
you
It
can't
does-
have him come back and fight.
I mean, granted that none of the movies were realistic. This would have been
Oh,
super
well, yeah.
unrealistic to have him at that age coming into the ring and trying to fight and kick ass.
I can see him like someone says shit to Jordan and Stallone throws like a punch, like one punch, everything goes into that one punch, like knocks a guy out. I can see that happening. But
I still want to see Rocky like knock somebody out. I think everybody wants to see that.
right.
You
I
do
think-
want to see him have that moment. I think it's still possible.
I think there's a chance. Like I said, I think
Yeah.
that's possible that could happen where someone talks shit about his protege and punches him out.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. The last movie he was Sylvester Stallone was excellent in. Should have won the Academy Award.
Right.
Didn't. And I'm excited to see what he brings to the table this movie because I know that he feels he needs to bring it after his last performance.
I think one of the things I'm super excited about is something that everybody's been waiting for. This is that this movie is going to have Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren together again.
Right.
You know, they're probably going to share some screen time. Everybody's been waiting for that since Rocky IV. It's kind of been talked about if they would ever cross paths again. So I feel like having Ivan Drago and Rocky Balboa come together again is going to be interesting to kind of see, you know, if they still kind of hold any grudges, if there's that respect. It's not really about them anymore, but, you know,
having Drago's son though,
But
like to
this
me
is-
is more interesting.
Well, that's my point, is that and I agree with you, they're going to have, it's not necessarily about them as main characters anymore, but like the proteges that they have trained to kind of be like the next generation of themselves, which I think is going to be cool. And this guy, though, who's, I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but Florian Montagnu, I think it's how you pronounce it, but he's playing Victor Drago. And I think that's going to be awesome. This guy, though, looks like a monster. Like, this dude is huge.
Well, didn't Dolph
Right.
look like a monster?
He
Yeah.
did, but this guy, I mean, Dolph did look big, but this guy looks like a bodybuilder big.
This guy
Right.
has like a Ricky Martin face to him.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I'm just
In my
saying his
opinion.
face.
I mean, he's definitely got, I think he's got a little bit of size on Michael B. Jordan, and I think that's the point. I think
Yeah.
they
I
want
think he
him
has
to be
a lot of size.
I think they want him
he's
to
a
be
machine.
They want him to be taller. They want him to be bigger. Like a lot of people thought that Dolph Lundgren's character Ivan Drago was indestructible.
Right.
And I think they want to give us the same feeling in this movie, kind of recreate that, you know. But obviously, we would hope that, you know, Michael B. Jordan's character takes down this machine of a man.
But what is really what makes you feel like you don't know what the outcome's going to be is that in the first movie, the big fight, he lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
So this is Ryan Coogler and Sylvester Stallone writing a movie in the Rocky universe where the protagonist isn't always going to win the big fight. So I mean, who knows? This could be a situation where he actually, you know, has the same fate as his dad.
Right.
You don't know, but I mean, you want him to win, and hopefully it's a feel-good movie and not something depressing like the first one. The first one was a little depressing at the end because he lost, but it was still triumphant because he made his debut as a boxer, which is what he wanted. You know what I'm saying? And he actually held his own for a long time in that fight, so he didn't go out like a sucker, but you know, it would have been nice to see him win that fight. Like you watch Rocky movies for the feel good aspect of it. I mean, nobody watches it for the boxing technique.
Although it's gotten much better from the first couple of movies.
It has. I mean, but the characters have also developed a lot. You've gotten to know a lot about their backstory. I think, you know, Burgess Meredith had a really good impact on the films, and where Rocky came from. Like they really, what I really like about the Rocky movies is they take their time over the course of a couple of movies to really establish where they came from and instill their values and their morals in the characters so that when they actually fight and they make decisions, you understand why those decisions are being made. And I mean, there's a scene that I always, you know, you get a little emotional because as you get older, you start to kind of relate to, like, I have grandparents that are older and are still alive, thank God. But it's
They're
like
older than you?
There's that, I mean, older. I mean, my grandmother's 90. You know, my grandfather was older when he passed away, but it's like I'm watching that scene with Burgess Meredith where he's old. I mean, they made him look older for the movie, obviously, but, like, you know, he gives his necklace to Rocky, and he's like, when you get hurt and you go down, he's like, you know, you're going to remember there's that angel on your shoulder that's telling you to get up because Mickey loves you. And, like, that scene was kind of touches everybody in a different way, but it stays with you, you know. So anytime you see Rocky go down, they do flashbacks to him, like, remembering what he said, like, get up, you know. And it's like that sticks with you through the whole Rocky journey. And now we're seeing Rocky as an older guy, you know, and you're seeing him take those values and instill that in the characters, which is cool.
Got time for, like, one more thing on this.
Yeah.
Do we think that Sylvester Stallone is going to die in this movie, or do you think they're going to save that for the next movie? Because I don't believe this is going to be the final Creed.
No,
this is not going to be the final Creed, but I think the third would be the final one. I don't see this being like a multi-movie franchise. I think it's a trilogy, and, you know, there'll be 3 and out.
Do we think Sylvester Stallone will die?
Yeah, in this one.
In this or the next one?
I think in this one.
This one?
I mean, that way the next one is like kind of like a
standalone for Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and he gets to shine completely in that one, and it's all on Creed, just like they did with Rocky. I mean, like, you want to give him you want to give this kid a chance to be, you know, to take Rocky's teachings and his coaching to the next level on his own and make it his own thing, and let him be, like, you know, the ultimate fighter in that situation. Hopefully.
I don't know if Rocky needs to die for the story to continue.
Look,
I mean, we'll see what happens.
It's possible that he could be alive forever, but I would like. I mean, I think just for the emotional impact and
to close out the character
and something to give the character of Adonis Creed some emotional drive, like additional emotional drive, and push him a little bit harder to succeed. I think that's a good way to you know, give him that.
And I also think a lot of the story arcs in the original Rocky movies and now in Creed, you're seeing very similar things happen. And I think that Sylvester Stallone has taken the Burgess Meredith role, and I believe ultimately he's going to pass away.
Right.
And Creed is going to fight in his honor.
Yeah, I could see that. I guess.
Speaking about passing away, though,
yeah,
a beloved podcast's founder, his career passed away this week, and there hasn't been anybody really fighting for his honor besides Adam Carolla, who kind of spoke out on his behalf.
Good, man.
And we're talking about Chris Hardwick.
Yeah.
Do we really think that this is the end for Chris Hardwick?
I really think that once you have that stain on your career, it's really tough to fight back from until you're 100% vindicated. Like, there's a lot of people that have, like, hearsay, you know, problems, and they're forever tainted. Roethlisberger is one, for instance. There's a lot of hearsay and a lot of you know, people that have come out and said things about, you know, his behaviors off the field.
Ben rapes fur burgers.
There you go. And this is something that's going to stick with him throughout his career. He's still playing on the field right now because nothing's been proven. But even when you are still able to perform your duties and still able to do your job and still able to maybe you know, be on, you never really have the same respect from your crowd or from your audience as you did before. You're going to lose a lot of people are going to drop off until it's proven one way or the other which, what actually happened, which who knows if that's actually going to come to pass.
I think my problem with this whole situation is, all right, this Me Too movement is great.
Well, tell people what actually happened though, because I think we just started talking about it and we never even said what happened. So
so basically what happened was Chris Hardwick's ex-girlfriend basically had some accusations that he was abusive to her, and as soon as she basically made these allegations,
like sexually abusive,
sexually abusive, even I think physically, they basically did what they all do as people who are trying to respect the Me Too movement. They basically kicked him out of the Nerdist podcast foundation company, which he was a founder of, removed any evidence of him from being a part of it. His name isn't listed anywhere. He was supposed to co-host something this year, or host something this year, and I completely just...
There
were two panels.
Two
AMC panels.
Yeah, two AMC panels that he was going to host at different conventions. Those he's been taken off as the host. He's no longer... The Talking Dead is no longer happening, or he is no longer the host of it.
Talking with Chris Hardwick is now not a thing.
So I guess my problem with this is, and I've said this multiple times, I respect the Me Too movement. I think it's great what they're doing for assholes like Harvey Weinstein and, Kevin Spacey, who have really done some effed up shit. And they should be paying for the things that they've done, and good, right? But when you have somebody like Chris Hardwick, who has built an empire for himself.
Well, not even for himself. He built an empire and sold it to Legendary.
I mean, the guy's brilliant. The guy's been working his ass off. I mean, I don't think people remember Chris Hardwick was the other half of Singled Out on MTV. When Jenny McCarthy was like, that was Chris Hardwick. He's been around for a long time. He's paid his dues. So I feel like these things are just, they are allegations and accusations that somebody is making. And what I don't like about this movement is that somebody's career can go from the top to literally nothing in a matter of 24 hours because of an allegation and an accusation that someone made. You're basing someone's career on somebody's word. It could be hearsay. There's no time to even have a trial. There's no, whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, it's completely guilty until proven innocent.
I just don't understand how you could take somebody's entire career and throw it out the window. Like, listen, you got somebody like Harvey Weinstein, fine. Kevin Spacey admitted it, and whatever, he tried to come out and it didn't work out. Regardless, he basically admitted what had happened, and Louis C.K. even admitted to everything that he did. And that's the reason why they took him off Netflix and all this other shit. He came clean and admitted he was wrong. But Chris Hardwick is denying these allegations, and he should have a chance to speak up for himself rather than have his whole career thrown out the fucking window. That's not fair, man.
Just to clarify, it's not the movement that's
it's
doing
not
that
the
to
Me
him.
Too movement. These are the networks that have let him go.
Right. This is a rash rush to judgment and a decision being made on hearsay instead of actual facts and investigation.
Right. And
so there's no due process here. That's
and thanks
what the
for
problem
clearing that
is.
up. I'm not saying that the movement is
Right.
at fault. I'm just saying that I feel like because of this, a lot of people are starting to come forward, which is great, and they should.
Yes.
But I feel like we're seeing a lot more of this, and people's careers are being just literally thrown away in 24 hours without any of these allegations being investigated.
Correct.
And I think that's bullshit.
And if this is true, if what they're saying is true that Chris has allegedly done, then fuck Chris Hardwick.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
he should have the chance to speak up for himself at least.
And there have been
to some degree,
like
But
some of the new evidence that came to light, though, like with the text messages.
Yeah,
and,
it seems very muddy.
Yeah,
her name
it
is
does.
Chloe Dykstra
right?
is her name, and she's stating that she was sexually and physically abused, emotionally abused.
Right.
But then some text, TMZ has gotten a hold of some texts, which I'm going to assume Chris Hardwick or his legal team has leaked them out. I mean, there's no other way. And these texts seem to be Chloe months later after they apparently broke up and she, was abused. She's trying to make everything better with Chris Hardwick. She's trying to reconcile with him. Which
and even says in the text message thread that maybe she was the one that
you have the thread
was more.
One of the texts says, "We both handled this poorly," meaning their breakup. Period. Possibly myself more so.
Right.
But she's trying to put the blame on herself. Now, I mean, these could be taken out of context, but it's hard not to look at this and say, at least in some way, she thinks that she's part of the problem for this relationship breaking up. And it's hard to dispute that. Like, it's hard for her to just come out and say, well, here's the reason why I was assaulted, when texts like this show why, if you truly believe you were attacked.
I think
7 months later, like after you've had time to like decompress,
Process everything.
Yeah. Go for counseling, get some help, whatever. 7 months later, now you want to make things right, or you want to make things good, and admit to your wrongdoings. Like,
and we're not saying that if she was abused, 7 months is the correct amount.
Yeah, no, not
process
at all.
everything.
Not at all. I'm just saying there's
But
enough.
it seems odd.
But there's enough time there that you would probably not try to go back, right?
So I have a tweet that somebody who worked for Nerdist actually posted. Her name is Donna Dickens. Her Twitter handle is mildly amused if you want to look into it. But basically she posted something and it said, as someone who writes for Nerdist, let me just say Chris Hardwick is a piece of trash and I believe women. And then below that it's like, but then again she says this. Right after that, she puts, I've never personally had an interaction with him, but you hear things. And I'm not going to let a fear of not being allowed to write for Nerdist anymore keep me from supporting a survivor of abuse. I believe Chloe. And that's fine, right? That she's heard these things. But
at the same time, it's still hearsay.
But it's still hearsay because she's heard things and she's never had a personal interaction with them. So I feel like her saying that it's great that you said that, but you don't really have anything to personally base it on. And my other thing is this. For somebody that has built an empire, as we said, I feel like it might be good for AMC to take a stand and be like, Chris Hardwick, from what I've heard with AMC and Adam Carolla, has been nothing but a stand-up guy. And like, who knows what happens behind closed doors? But like, as far as professionally, he's been a stand-up guy, and they never would have expected something like this.
Like Adam Carolla's brand of comedy, though, doesn't really lend to him being a great person to vouch for somebody's character.
I understand that.
Yeah,
and
he's
I
kind of like a
understand-
man's man.
And I understand he was one of the, him and Jimmy Kimmel, the Man Show. I get it. But like, my thing is that
I'd believe Kimmel before I believe Carolla, though.
Right, but my point is that I feel like it would be a good stand by AMC to be like, hey, we have heard the allegations with Chris Hardwick. We're not taking them lightly, but we are looking into this, and we will continue to follow the investigation. Bear with us as things develop. But I mean, as far as like just kicking him off the whole fucking network. I mean, like, I just feel like I would have a little bit more respect for AMC if they let the due process happen.
Well, we unfortunately live in a world where once the allegation has come out, once the tweet, has reared its ugly head, people have already made a decision to ostracize that person. They've already deemed him a monster, and companies are afraid that they are going to lose money off of this.
And that's fine, but I think my problem is that like I said, I think I would have more respect for AMC for being the ones to make a stand and not let the tweet be the deciding factor as to if this person is guilty or not. Like, Twitter is not a judge and jury. Like, just because the public is aware of it doesn't mean somebody's career is at stake. Like,
right, how about,
let AMC be like, hey man, that's great, and we hear it, but like, trial first.
Yeah,
you know
how about everybody just chill out until we find out that he did it, because
or didn't.
This is where it gets really muddy for me, is that this is
where social media becomes a problem.
Well, I'm talking about this situation with him. This is not just a random woman or just some woman that worked for him that he used his power to abuse her. This is his girlfriend,
ex-girlfriend,
that they broke up, and they broke up because she cheated on him. Right?
That's the other thing that's weird. It's like, you cheated on him.
So she cheated on him. They broke up. She wants to get back with him. He wants nothing to do with it because she cheated on him. Yeah. Right? And I mean, it's just a woman scorned, right? This is what you hear. This is what you hear.
It's been all over Twitter.
No, but I'm saying a woman scorned is the phrase, right?
At least this is what is being portrayed.
Exactly.
Right. And that's what it seems like. And I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that that's what it seems like. So when it seems like that up front, when you look at it at first glance, how are you going to erase this man from everything that he's done and then take away everything that he could be based on an allegation like that? Like, if this was a group of women coming forward from Nerdist, or a group of women coming forward that he's worked with, that he had no prior relationship with, and they're just like, look, these are things that Chris Hardwick has done, I'm not saying that would justify erasing him from everything, but at the same time, I would almost, like, I wouldn't be as hesitant to accept it.
Because ultimately, and I hate to bring this up again, ultimately AMC is a company that could stand to lose a ton of money. And I think
that's the other thing that surprises me.
And I think this is they look at this as the only way to get ahead of this and not cause a financial problem for themselves. If for whatever reason he gets cleared, I'm sure they'll bring back Chris Hardwick with open arms.
Like, how awkward is that?
Yeah,
though?
if I was Chris
how
Hardwick,
awkward is that to be like? I feel like if I was Chris Hardwick, I'd be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
Like I didn't do this, and you literally was like a backstabber.
Right.
Go fuck yourself, man. I'll go somewhere else.
But they're their employers. They're not his friends.
Right.
I'm just trying to look at it
like
from
a
the other way.
business.
I would say, man, if I was him and I was going to actually accept that job again, they would have to make some kind of statement before, like, my next show, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, something
like we apologize.
We apologize for, like, we gladly welcome him back with open arms or something, you know?
But again, this is not, and I just want our audience to understand this. Like, we are not, like, advocating for Chris Hardwick right now. We're just saying that we're advocating for actual justice. We like this once we start allowing this kind of thing to happen on a regular basis, then like people are. I mean, it's not a good fucking place to be.
We support the Me Too movement. We just don't support people losing their careers over something that somebody said.
It feels like this is turning into a big high school, doesn't it?
No, it feels like Salem.
Out there,
it's gossip.
It's like
feels like
some
Salem.
guy. It's like some guy, has a date with some girl, and she doesn't put out, and he's pissed about it. So he tells all of his friends that girl's a slut.
Right.
And then for the next 4 years of her high school career, she is now labeled the slut over something that she may not have done.
I was saying it feels like Salem.
Salem?
Yeah.
The witch trials.
Oh, the witch trials. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're there's no way you're getting out of it. You're just like, once you're labeled.
I thought that's what you meant.
Yeah.
I was just making sure. Yeah, as a witch. Yeah, I got you.
Once you're labeled that shit, like you can't scrub yourself clean, man. Like it's always gonna hang over your head, like forever until you're completely exonerated. Which hopefully, I don't know which way it's gonna go, but I'd like to see the actual system in place to make sure that this woman is telling the truth.
You know what's funny though? We talked about this earlier in this episode, there were allegations again. I feel like some allegations you hear about and then they just disappear. Like there were allegations about Sylvester Stallone. What happened with that? Nothing. Because no one gives a shit. The James Franco thing, no one gives a shit.
But why do people give a shit about Chris Hardwick though? I mean, I don't understand that. It's
he's
not
a
even
major figure right now. Like, and I'm not saying James Franco or Sylvester Stallone aren't, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's like the buzz right now, and then people go on with their lives and they forget about it. And I feel like Sylvester Stallone, people are like, who fucking cares? Like the Morgan Freeman shit, no one cares. You know, it's weird. It's weird how some of these allegations get traction, and then some of them just fall off the grid.
And I feel like Chris Hardwick is a bigger name right now than Franco or Stallone.
Yeah.
I think he just is. He's a larger brand.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I just hope that I personally hope that this is not true, because I'm a Chris Hardwick fan. I really like the guy. I enjoy his work. But if he did, he's an asshole, but I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Hashtag me too.
Hashtag me too. For
that's
real.
not what I wasn't even.
No,
doing
I know,
that,
but
that's great.
It was just perfect. Yeah.
But yeah, man, like that's it, man. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget, we are actually releasing every Friday and Monday now, just to make it a little bit easier, give you some bite-sized pieces.
Woohoo! You can
also
swallow that like what are those things? Those pizza things you used to eat. What do they call them? Like the small little round
Pizza rolls?
Yeah, no, not a pizza roll. What are they
Bagel
called?
bites?
Oh, yeah, it's like a bagel
Quiche.
bite. No, it's a bagel bite.
Whatever.
Where the fuck did quiche come from?
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking
Way to
about?
ruin the
Those little
podcast.
those little mini quiches.
Yeah, it's a bagel bite-sized episode.
Yeah, on Monday nights you can also check out the Bachelorette After Party with Tony and Becca.
Hell
and
yeah.
every Thursday you can check out We Love Wednesdays, which is a comic book podcast by yours truly. And that's it.
Word. So we'll see you guys on what day?
Whatever day you want to see
I'm
us.
just messing with you. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Yeah.
Later.
Peace.
Goodbye.